You're listening to Art of the Possible, your go-to podcast for all things pivotal and current in digital transformation, bridging the physical and digital with revolutionary solutions. In each episode, hosts Tony and Ken discuss how some of the world's biggest challenges are being solved through digitization, offering actionable insights to help you with your digital transformation journey. Let's dive into what's possible.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Art of the Possible podcast. I'm Judy Moon, and I am Vice President of Market Development at Digimark. And today, I'm so thrilled to be sitting down with our guest, Richard Akkermans. Richard is the R&D Packaging Sustainability Manager at Mondelēz International. He has over 20 years of experience in R&D leadership in global food companies such as Mars, McCormick, and Mondelēz International right now. Currently, he is leading Mondelēz's R&D packaging sustainability strategy for the European region. He is passionate about global collaboration in eliminating packaging waste and creating a fully circular economy for all packaging, which is so important for all of us. Welcome, Richard.
Thanks, Judy.
Today, we are diving deep into the topic of closed-loop recycling, specifically sustainable packaging. The EU has set aggressive goals to ensure plastic packaging is reusable, recyclable, or compostable. The good news is that the technology to affect change and achieve this goal exists today, with organizations like Mondelēz International, AIM, which is the European Brand Association, Holy Grail, Alliance to End Plastic Waste, and of course, Digimark as a technology solution provider, all leading the way to make things happen. But even with these powerful endorsements, the industry has been slow to act. And today we are here to explore the challenges and solutions and help provide some actionable insights into what needs to happen to achieve the goal of closed loop recycling. And so with this backdrop, let's dive in. Welcome, Richard. It's great to have you here.
Pleasure to be here, everyone.
So let's start off. Can you share with the listeners here a bit more about your background and how it is relevant to the conversation we're having today? And also, if you can speak about your involvement with the Holy Grail initiative.
Thanks, Judy. Well, a long time ago, I studied for a PhD in physical chemistry, which feels like a lifetime ago, but it did give me a lot of insight into things in my current role in packaging sustainability are really relevant: polymer chemistry and material science. But as you were saying, a lot of the science to solve the problems on plastic circularity is not the issue. It's actually getting all of the value chain players to look at the financial considerations as well as technical ones. That's where some of the challenges are for true circularity.
Yeah. Thanks for that. And I did not know that you had a PhD, so that's a really nice thing to know about you, Richard. So the topic today we're discussing here is obviously, as you know, not a new topic. The industry has been exploring solutions to achieve closed-loop recycling and end plastics pollution since uh, 2019, when the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, the European Brand Association, and other industry leaders launched the Holy Grail 2.0 digital market watermarking initiative. Um, Today, the need to solve the plastic pollution problem is, as you know, more urgent than ever. And the good news is that there is a solution that's been thoroughly tested and now ready for deployment into the next phase, which I know that the Holy Grail team is calling market development. So one of the most pressing challenges in achieving a circular economy for packaging is the ability to better sort consumer waste by accurately identifying packaging, resulting in more efficient and high quality recycling. Early on, digital watermarking through the Holy Grail initiative was identified to help revolutionize the way packaging is sorted in the waste management system, opening up new possibilities not feasible with existing technologies. So fast forward to 2024. Richard, can you talk about what are some of the current technologies for improving sortation at recycling facilities? Maybe some of the trends or what technologies are available today, or even touch on, pros and cons of some of these technologies. It's kind of what is the current landscape on what's available today?
Yeah, thanks, Judy. That's a great question. So as we know, there's plenty of post-consumer um, um, plastic packaging waste. Although in some countries it's not always routinely collected, in many it is. So the challenge is now moving on. Yes, we need to do more collection of these materials, valuable feedstock in all countries. But now we're really trying to prove the benefit of better positive sorting or intelligent sorting. And Mondelēz, being a food company, it's in particularly important that we eventually have access to recycled plastic that's suitable for food contact. And positive sorting, intelligent sorting technologies like digital watermarks that can positively link to a product or packaging passport that positively identifies that packaging was food contact originally really, really helps build a better baseline for that sorted material. We can't guarantee post-consumer that the packaging hasn't been contaminated with something else. But at this stage, it goes a long way to be able to say, we can identify this was originally food packaging. And if all of the packaging was sorted to form feedstock for the recycling industry, that would go a long way towards EFSA approval in Europe, for example.
Mhm. Can you talk about, so now that we have an understanding of what's possible with intelligent sorting technology, can you talk a little bit about why is it important, right? What are the sort of market drivers that um, that would help will help the listeners better understand why is this important, and what are, how do the financial benefits work, right? Because we all know that in order for a program to really work, there has to be some return on investment to the participants. And so, from a brand's perspective, can you just talk about those topics I just covered?
Yeah, sure. And again, I focus a lot on the European perspective, where we'll have packaging and packaging waste regulation coming in 2030, mandating a certain amount of recycled plastic in food contact packaging. And to achieve that, we want to be able to have multiple recycling technologies that meet that need. The main type today for food contact plastic recycling is PET packaging in the bottled drinks industry, for example. We need to have more examples where other plastic types, and polypropylene is a specific plastic that Mondelēz uses a lot of, that today isn't available through a conventional recycling for food contact. It's only available through chemical or advanced recycling. So having a way to sort material for food contact and almost pre-screen that material provides then material that with development can be part of a food safety assured recycled plastic process. That took many years for the PET industry, and we're hoping to be able to accelerate that through this sort of intelligent pre-sorting for food contact that's so important.
Yeah. So I guess to put it simply, there is demand for recycled material, but there isn't enough supply. Would you say, of high quality recycled material that's usable from for some of the brands? Is that an accurate statement?
Yeah, that's right. I'd say definitely in theory, supply, demand is a lot higher than supply. But of course, the demand is being tempered at the minute by the high on cost of the material, which is just an economic fact. So by the time the regulation comes in, the choice will be either to have worked as industry to try and make recycled plastic more affordable, because obviously clearly the more affordable it is, the more brand owners will actually want to use it and be able to afford to use it, rather than go for a regulatory minimum. That up to a couple of years ago, that there wasn't any supply of this material. That's starting to come through now, but we really need to sort of work hard and collaborate to make more of this material available and from multiple recycling technologies.
Yeah. And the demand is, in addition to companies doing the right thing for our environment, but it's also being largely driven by regulation that's coming down the pike. Can you talk a little bit about some of these regulations? There's the PPWR, there's DPP. If you can just talk a little bit, I mean, and this is from a Europe perspective, right? Because here in the U.S., I think we're very behind. But like, talk a little bit more about these regulations that are also helping to drive the need for this technology.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we know that recycling is not the only answer to the sort of global plastic waste crisis. Yeah, we know that we need to be reducing the amount of plastic where possible. We know we then need to make sure it's all being collected, sorted, which is the subject of the conversation today. But it certainly helps when there is a regulation in place that creates a certain base level of demand for recycled content. Because voluntary action will get you so far, but after a while, it becomes a competitive disadvantage. Doing the right thing ends up costing you more than competitors who are not doing the right thing. So regulation is really important as a level playing field or a playfield leveler, as it were. And certainly in Europe, there's packaging and packaging waste regulation with those targets for recycled content, mandatory targets, which will increase from 2030 to then 2035. That will create a certain amount of guaranteed demand for the material, which in turn should stimulate the recycling industry to provide that demand. So, yes, a regulation is coming, certainly in Europe. UK are similarly looking at what amount of recycled plastic should be regulated. At the moment, there are targets, but there hasn't been a clear breakdown by different market sectors about recycled content specific targets. And I know many of the states in the US are starting to consider similar legislation.
Yeah. What's made me kind of scratch my head a little bit as I've been working in this space is the lack of urgency that I've been seeing from the industry, given that there is this regulation and target dates, right? I mean, 2030, while it feels like it's far away, it's actually not too far away. And to affect real meaningful change by that time, there's, steps that companies need to take to get to scale. And I'm just wondering, like, with these drivers that are sort of helping to shape the future of, say, sustainable packaging, why aren't we seeing more urgency from consumer brands and entities within the waste management ecosystem to get into action, to start adopting systems and putting in processes and technologies? Would love to get your thoughts around that.
I think ultimately it starts with mass behavior and mass behavior adoption. It's still true, even in 2024, that the majority of consumers in Europe, even though they say they want sustainable packaging and they expect brand owners to be providing sustainable packaging, relatively few are prepared to pay any incremental um, price for that packaging to be recycled, or everyone sees the plastic waste in the ocean and no one feels good about that. But it will take time for people to realize that they can be part of the solution by making the right choice with brands that are trying to do the right thing. It's fair to say today that there's a considerable price premium for using recycled plastic in the food contact industry, and I'm talking about this advanced or chemical recycling today. Um, so until regulation comes in and everyone has to do it, um, there is this disadvantage then from brand owners. Consumers aren't fully demanding it yet, as in, if you're not providing recycled plastic, then there's no evidence really of them switching to brands that are. But to be fair, not many brands are using recycled plastic. And then there's the we're still waiting for the regulation to kick in. So we're in this few years of a little bit of limbo. There's also further uncertainty about how different types of recycled plastic by mass balance will finally be um, calculated, and therefore the economics are certain. There's still a bit of uncertainty there about the pricing based on different mass balance allocation models. Now, all of these are, I realize how detailed all of this is, but every time there's complexity, that's the reason why it takes time. There isn't enough supply of this material. There's a belief that if continues to not be enough supply of recycled plastic material by 2030, then the EU legislation could be postponed. That there's a clause in there that says it is conditional on there being enough material in the market. So some people will cling to current ways of working and hope that this legislation gets delayed. But clearly, for people trying to do the right thing, then bringing the legislation, making sure it happens and making sure we're ready for it is clearly the better choice.
Yeah. I mean, I think ultimately, it's a bit of a chicken or the egg, isn't it? Investment, there has to be some level of investment in order to prove out the business case. And what I'm so hopeful about, and I think it's sort of, very optimistic about the Belgium initiative that both you and I are involved in. If you could, because I feel like that program can potentially be the very first program of this kind globally, to help prove out the business case for this type of technology for intelligent sorting. So I would love if you could share with the listeners what we're trying to do in Belgium and the
Sure.
potential impact of that program could be.
Yeah, sure. It's quite an exciting opportunity, really. Get people all the way around the value chain working to produce new ways of producing food contact recycled plastic. So the Belgium initiative is several brand owners partnering with obviously yourselves at Digimart and several recyclers and the producer responsibility organization in Belgium, which is called FOSS Plus. And again, all in collaboration with the European Brand Association as part of the Holy Grail initiative to really get that value chain together and prove the economics of the sorted material. So we know over the last few years that we've proven that digital watermarks work. You get a high rate of detection. You get a high rate of sorting quality. What we haven't done yet is really prove the so what. If we had tons and tons and tons of this intelligent pre-sorted food contact approved material, um, who's going to buy it? How well does it work at scale in new recycling operations? So companies such as Borealis, Nextech, Pure Cycle, there are several companies that need access to that feedstock to be able to prove the technical validation of the recycling, but also work towards getting this EFSA approval. Because there may be a time period where all of this nicely pre-sorted material is recycled and recycled at scale, but the only beneficiaries for that material at the minute can be non-food contact applications. So we're kind of waiting for the acceleration of EFSA approval with the right due diligence. No one wants to put packaging on the marketplace that we haven't got 100% confident is consumer safe. But we absolutely need proactivity from those authorities to help provide food contact recycled plastic, because without that, we're very unlikely to hit the European legislation targets, and it will just act as a barrier to more companies getting involved. So we're very close, I think, to getting the green light to start that project. Brand owners, recyclers, the PRO starting to watermark packaging, collect it, send that to a sorting center that's been proven where the technology already works in collaboration with Digimark and Pelenc. And then start to get that sorted material to do a market demonstration of then selling that material to recyclers and hoping to make that happen in the middle of next year. So again, sorry for the detail of all of that, but it shows just how much collaboration needs to happen to really understand the issues and try and unlock the opportunities. to prove the economics. And once we've proven there's a business case for recyclers, then suddenly there might be a business case for more sorting centers to invest in the equipment to be able to detect the watermarks and sort the materials, because they can see that they'll be able to sell that sorted material and that there are customers for it. So yeah, exciting opportunity.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it as well. And thank you for providing all the details. I think it's super important for the listeners to understand how is this all going to work, right? Because there are lots of conversations out in the ether about the recycling problem and potential solves, but this initiative, um, it's been going on since 2019. We've done thorough testing. The technology has been proven within semi-industrial testing environments. And now this next step of a business, proving out the business case with a market demonstration initiative is absolutely critical next step towards moving to scale, right? So if within the goal is that within the 2 years of this initiative, to prove out the business case and follow with a scale out of the program more broadly. And so I just want to also mention that the program is with flexibles packaging. And so I would love to maybe, Richard, if you could talk about for those listeners who are potentially interested in learning more about this Belgium initiative and or interested in joining us on this next critical phase, what should they do?
I think there'll be a general call out from the European Brand Association later this year. So expected October 2024. They'll lay out a little bit more of what's expected and then how to engage in the initiative. Like you say, it's the focus is flexible polypropylene food contact packaging, and therefore brands that are using that material in the Belgian market. The a lot of we're trying to simplify the how to get involved by aggregating all of the trial costs of the market demonstration, aggregated as simply as possible, and done under a kind of membership style model, as the Holy Grail project has been run for the last few years. So a bit of continuity about how we've been operating, but now with the focus, rather than proving the technology, which is proven, focusing on proving the downstream business case. So yeah, so watch out for that, for a kind of a broader invitation from the European Brand Association to get involved. And yeah, if anyone has any questions from a brand owner perspective, I'm happy for people to get in touch with me directly about it.
Yeah, thank you, Richard. And I'm also available for people who want to learn more about the technology side of things. This is such an exciting initiative, and we have the opportunity really to show the world, right? Um, what a market demonstration model looks like, and if we can make this work, then it becomes a model that we can take to other markets and hopefully scale this out as quickly as possible. Because honestly, we don't have much time, right? The environmental issues are getting graver every day. I think nobody needs to be told that anymore. I mean, it's clear evidences every day of how climate change is affecting our world. So no time to waste. And so, listeners, if there are any listeners who are interested in learning more, please feel free to reach out to both Richard and myself. Um, so I know we covered quite a bit, and we are uh, running out of time. But before we wrap, Richard, are there any last thoughts, any topics we haven't covered today that you'd like to speak to?
Yeah, I think the final thing to say is you can't always predict future technology development. And then there may well be a time in the future where actually post-consumer waste is sorted. Intelligent sorting can be done very differently. I mean, we've all heard about object recognition and artificial intelligence, and we need to partner with all of those embryonic technologies to see where they'll lead us. The reason why we need to get on with digital watermarks right now is because it provides positive assurance linked to brand owner information about exactly what this packaging material is. Current technology, the stage it's at, would be guessing what packaging is, which again, with the high likelihood of things that are food contact grade and things that aren't. But a lot of the future technology development will depend on what food safety authorities around the world, so the EFSA in Europe or the FDA in the US, determine as appropriate due diligence to show that the recycled plastic is food contact. Then after that, you're relying on the recycling technology to decontaminate the plastic and make it suitable for recycling. But I think that positive confirmation that it's food contact today is why we're so excited to get on with this technology, prove the business case for it, and who knows what the future will bring, both in terms of different recycling technologies, different intelligent sorting, but maybe even different ways of collecting this material as well. So we can't always predict with certainty what the future will bring, but we can get on with the technology and tools we've got today and start proving the economics.
Yeah, thanks for making that point. Super important that we just keep moving forward, right? Um, you did touch on something that I do want to expand a little bit on, and that's around data. So the data that the digital watermarks can carry helps obviously on the sortation side of things, where the machines in the recycling facility read that data to help, you know, to communicate the material composition to aid in the intelligent sortation side of things. But the we also collect data, right? We can collect data that would be super useful for brand owners. How many items are being detected and where are they being detected, and other types of data and analytics that would provide insights to the brand owners, potentially to PROs and other entities that could really benefit from having that type of data collected as well. So that's something that is also very unique to digital watermarks, because we are we're supported, the technology is supported behind the scenes by a platform, a really robust product digitization platform that ingests and also collects data. Any thoughts around around data, Richard?
Well, I'm just grateful that you cope with my teasing about Digimark having effectively a 2-year audition of proving those are kind of the additional value of effectively click through. So when packaging is then post consumer being sorted and it's positively identified what type of packaging it was and where it's been disposed of, there is all sorts of sell-through data, brand owner relevant data that is available from that as well. But of course, it's not really been in the food industry and not been adopted at scale and therefore proven at scale yet. So we've got 2 years with the primary purpose of getting material ready for the recycling industry. We've got 2 years to also prove the additional benefit to brand owners of other data capture as well. So yeah, looking forward to seeing, and all brand owners that would get involved in this Belgian market demonstration will get a report of their packaging data, which again, I'm really interested to see what sort of insights we'll get from that information.
Yeah, exactly. I think we could talk for more hours on this topic. It's such a big and
Always.
interesting, fascinating topic, but unfortunately, we are out of time. Thank you so much, Richard, for joining me today. It was a fascinating conversation. I hope that our listeners took away some interesting insights, and have them consider how they could potentially get involved. Um, again, you're welcome to reach out to both Richard and myself, and we hope to continue this conversation another time. Thank you again, Richard.
Very welcome. Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. You will find this recording of The Art of the Possible on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Thanks, everybody, for joining.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Art of the Possible. The show notes include links to any resources mentioned in today's show. If you're enjoying our podcast, please subscribe so you never miss an episode and leave us a 5-star review.